Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Kathy Owen, certified fitness trainer and life coach since 2002, teaching others the Stop the Mind Screw process. On this channel, we talk about fitness, growth mindset, habits, and even some reality transurfing. Today, we are talking about a life changing book and the origin story of Stop the Mind Screw process. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell so you never miss content from me. Today, we are discussing part 2 of Psycho-cybernetics, and I am quite sure this won't be the last time we talk about this wonderful book. If you missed part 1, I had to write a paper in college 1,000 years ago on a self-help book, and I picked Psycho-cybernetics. The year was 1987, and the book had already been out 27 years. It was a bestseller and still is today. It is the origin story of Stop the Mind Screw process, and I swear it's embedded in my subconscious mind and the reason books like A New Earth and Reality Transurfing sound so familiar. Today, we are going to talk about psycho-cybernetics, what it has to say about success and failure. Let's start with success. Dr. Moss referred to the next steps as we discuss as a personal guide for success. He talked about a sense of direction. As Albert Einstein once said, people are like bicycles. They can keep balance only as long as they keep moving. Indeed, we're always looking for new accomplishments, always driven by the desire of achieving and becoming something more than what we currently are or have. That's why having goals and dreams constitute a prerequisite for reaching success. That is why I created the definite chief aim template that we talk about in Stop the Mind Screw, because this is the best place to start and is actually step 1 of Stop the Mind Screw process. The next word he brings up in success is courage. As written in the book, every problem seems smaller if it's faced promptly. Don't be afraid to take on new and scary challenges, as they will only make you stronger regardless of whether you achieve them. You know, Steve Jobs said in his commencement speech, and I say this all the time, he says, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition, for it somehow knows the way. That paper from 1987, courage was founded there. Compassion and comprehension are the next words he talks about. He says, understanding people's problems and aspirations, emphasizing their feelings and emotions, and even admitting our mistakes and shortcomings and finding a way to correct them are all great social skills to possess. Being compassionate is a huge skill to have in life. We are all human, and having compassion for others and their so-called shortcomings is always helpful. Are you on our email list? Consider joining today. We offer exclusive weekly stories in our emails and content related to fitness, growth mindset, and habits. You get a free download, the Hot Habit Checklist, that will have you building healthy, happy habits in no time. Bonus content from Kathy's coaching include a mental diet resource guide and a definite chief aim template that I just talked about, and so much more. You can find this at www.kathyowen.com/fitness. I hope to see you there. The next word is charity. I like the word kindness too. Successful people always take into consideration the benefit of others because they know that everyone is a child of God and a unique individual that deserves dignity and respect. One way to be respectful in that regard is to avoid hate and angst toward others, which means being impartial in our judgments and taking time to stop and consider other people's feelings and emotions and necessities. The next word is esteem. Doubting yourself is a poison that jeopardizes your well-being, your relationships with the outside world. And remember that you are a divine creation, and as such, you deserve to be appreciated as much as anybody else. So do yourself a favor and stop considering yourself to be a loser or a victim. You are way better than that. Self confidence. Confidence is built upon success. And if you're able to remember your past successes in your life, you'll naturally feel more sure in your ability to replicate them in the future. It doesn't even matter how many times you failed in the past. What matters is how many times you tried to be successful at something. And on that, you should concentrate all of yourself to be successful at something and concentrate all of your thoughts on this. As Thomas Edison said, I have failed 10,000 times, but I've succeeded in proving those 10,000 ways won't work. What a great attitude to have. Self assurance. This all comes back to creating a more accurate image of your own self, which doesn't mean trying to be somebody else, but simply accepting yourself as you are, an imperfect, always changing, and worthy person. By the way, no one is perfect, and those who pretend to be are only fooling themselves. The next points we're going to talk about that he talks about in the book, Psycho-cybernetics, is failure. And he even has it as the failure mechanism, just like we have the success mechanism he just talked about. So, failure key points. Just like the success mechanism needs to be explained so as to understand what needs to be in place for us to succeed in life, so does the failure mechanism, represented by different symptoms which have to be avoided altogether if we are to live a fulfilling and positive life. These symptoms of FAILURE. That's the acronym he talks about in the book. What does F stand for? It stands for frustration. Disappointments and humiliations will come, and we should learn to embrace them without being too cruel to ourselves and our self esteem. It's only when we let a temporary failure define our emotional state for too long that we become victims, therefore, failing in the quest to become the best version of our possible selves. Aggressiveness is A. Aggressiveness. Misdirected aggressiveness follows disappointment. It's important, however, to point out the difference between positive aggressiveness, which guised as pure determination allows you to fearlessly tackle your goals and challenges in life, and the negative aggressiveness, which looks just like frustration and will never lead to positive outcomes. Insecurity. Insecurity refers to the always present thought of not being enough for something greater, not being good looking enough for a girl, or not having enough money to quit your day job, or not being healthy enough to start an exercise routine. I mean, come on. However, you see it, insecurity is just a mental block, AKA a mental screw, a mind screw that we can both create and break with our own hands or our own thoughts. Oftentimes, though, it's just enough to stop us from achieving our full potential. Loneliness. Each one of us gets or feels lonely at times, but we shouldn't be lonely on purpose. A life lived with others is by far one of the greatest pleasures life itself has to offer. And mingling with people can make us more interesting and less anxious. And it also provides a great opportunity to understand various types of individuals, giving us a better understanding of human perspectives and attributes as a result. Remember that compassion we talked about earlier? Uncertainty. Uncertainty relates to being fearful of making mistakes. Making mistakes and adjusting course is what life is all about. If you never make mistakes, that means you're not even going to try to do something worth doing. Resentment. Besides being the worst company for those to be around them, the individual that constantly harbors bitterness and grief toward others also loves playing the victim game. This individual is used to blaming everybody and everything around them when times get tough. Resentment comes from within, and it is just a result of our reaction to something that happens on the outside. Expecting something from others is never the answer to a satisfying life. Finding joy in yourself through personal discovery and development is emptiness. Someone who is not able to enjoy life anymore has an empty state. This mental state, however, can be overcome through goal setting practices. The individual that is morally, mentally, and physically committed to something is not even concerned about internal emptiness. He wisely chooses his battles and always strives to give his best. Your mind is the most valuable asset you have. A crisis situation can either build you or break you. That's when the mind, by far, the most powerful gift we possess as humans. It can help us the most. This is why I simply could not relate to the term toxic positivity. No matter what situation we're ever going to find ourselves in, we can accept the challenge, show up, and commit to the end result. You know, the one pictured in the very beginning, the definite chief aim. Yeah, there's a template in the download when you sign up for my email list. If you make it a habit of constantly reminding yourself of the direction you're going toward and see it vividly as an already reached objective, it is at that point that you finally unleash feelings of self confidence and conviction in your means that will lead sooner or later to a positive outcome. I can remember so many times that I maintained a positive attitude despite what was going on in my world. And I had many things go wrong along the way. I can't help but wonder if the me of 1987 was storing up that knowledge for future use. That paper I wrote, by the way, it got an A plus, and I remember it oh so vividly. But how I wish I could find that paper. All right, that ends part two of this two-part series on psycho-cybernetics. And I'm quite sure this is not the last time we talk about this awesome book. I'm thinking of breaking it down chapter by chapter and discussing it in more depth because it so relates to Stop the Mind Screw process. If you know someone who could benefit from this, will you please share it with them? And until next time, I'll see you next time. Peace out and namaste.